We're back, people, and today we're bringing a film on Chop Robinson, Penn State edge defender who's now the newest Miami Dolphins player. Super explosive athlete, maybe the best athlete in the entire class. They bring him in, and to me, he plays like his hair's on fire. I love the effort that he plays with out there. Super high motor, very disruptive player in the backfield. Now, looking at this pick, I know people are very mixed on it. People don't love it necessarily. And for me, I like the pick, don't love it. For me, it was a little bit of a reach. But after going back and watching the film, it's definitely understandable why they went in this direction. I definitely feel like I see why they liked him so much coming off the edge. I like the versatility. I also think in Penn State, he wasn't used exactly how he should have. He played way too much hand in the dirt at Penn State, and he's a guy that should have been standing up a lot more. Really, he definitely has his rough edges that need to worry about. Specifically, some problems in the running game when it comes to like run recognition. He'll make some plays once he sees it, but he's got very limited arm length. Was probably his biggest issue. Like you can definitely notice the lack of arm length at time. But he has some power to his game. For being undersized, he knows how to use that speed to power. Lack of a pass rush plan overall. Like he likes to use the two-hand swipe, speed to power, and then just rip and dip around the edge, winning with his speed and bend, which he has an elite bend. Like he's such a good athlete. Like his ceiling is so high. Like he could be like a Micah Parsons type player. That's where he could end up if he's developed correctly. And I think for Weaver, he is a really good fit in the defense. Kind of go look at when the Ravens drafted Odafe Owe, who is a very raw athletic edge defender. That's kind of where they think of him. But I think Robinson's a little bit smaller, and I think you could see like some of this usage where he's lined up on the inside as a sub package rusher, standing up. Obvious pass rush situations, Madison, Phillips, and Chubb on the outside, having Chop on the inside, beating like guards and centers with his quickness. And he plays with some pretty good play strength for his lack of size. I could see he can even drop too. Like if you wanted to use him as like a dime linebacker type situation, he can even drop into coverage a little bit for an edge defender, which is nice to see. And he just has insane athletic ability. But he needs to develop more of a pass rush plan for sure. He needs to become more consistent with his hands. But the reason I feel good about his development is like he's only 21 years old, very young. So it might take him a while to get to it. I do like players that are a little more polished, but 21, and he's a super high character guy. Every time you hear someone talk about him, his character is off the charts, which is great. He's high effort, which definitely helps things overall that he needs to work with. But going back and watching, like I watched 4 games last night, and the Iowa and Michigan game really stood out to me, and like he made a lot of impact plays. And I just feel like he played way too much hand in the dirt at Penn State. He'll be used more to natural standing up 3-4 edge outside linebacker type in the Dolphins defense, which is definitely more his game. And then he can slide to the interior, stand up over the center, like how the Cowboys used Parsons last year later on in the season, and do that stuff for you. So he's a defensive weapon for your team. Definitely comes with his warts as a player. Kind of a boomer bust, but it was understandable why they went in that direction. So looking at this film, you can just see the explosiveness off the ball. About as good as first step as you'll see in this class. Get off there, and we'll win around the edge. If you don't fire out of your stance as a tackle, this guy didn't fire out, he's going to lose around the edge. Loves to hit a two-hand swipe. This is where he wins a lot. If he sees, if he has the ability to capture the edge, he will two-hand swipe. He actually does a good job on that, and then just bending, getting to the quarterback, finishing there. The lack of length is like, because a lot of the areas he can't grow in, like usually what you can't grow in, with your like athleticism and like size and stuff. Chop is like usually great in all those categories except for length pretty much. So he can't really grow that part of his game, which hurts like his finishing and ability to stack and shed in the run game. But he can definitely grow in other areas. Like he has all the intangibles that you want. But he can grow as a pass rusher, grow his bag. Just needs to be coached up. It really just comes down to coaching at this point. So like overall, how I feel about the pick, a little bit of a reach, at least for my board, but I understand it. Like I understand why he was best player available. Some of them, people have him super high up, and you can definitely understand why. Like I think he will be an impact player for the team. It's just, will he ever reach that super high ceiling and be worth the 21 first pick? That, remains to be seen. But this is like the usage just gets me super excited. Lined up like this, there's so many versatile ways to use him. He's a very low compact rusher, very explosive, and just plays like he's on fire. Sometimes plays a little over aggressive for his own good. I feel like he plays too fast for his own good, and he like can take himself out of plays at time. But look at the ability to knife to the inside of this guard here. Give a little bit of foot fire. Look how explosive and twitchy he is. Boom, to cross that face so fast, then get underneath, get to the quarterback. Ball has to be thrown away super quick. Then the next time he's lined up, head up over the center, and then use a little bit of speed to power this time. You don't always have to beat him with quickness. Overpower the center, use the leverage, get him back, force him into the QB. He's very low and compact, and that's why I think combined with his speed, he can definitely use that leverage to create some push. Like, even though he's a bit undersized, he has some good play strength to him, which is important. And he really gets his hands inside of the chest in those situations. He doesn't have the arm length to super extend. I want to show this play, even though he kind of goes around the QB. Look where he's lined up here. He's inside shade of the tackle, outside shade of this guard, and he almost is. Look at this bend; it's insane. Like, you should not be able to be aligned from this position and be able to bend around the tackle. And he's able to do it. Like, swipe his hands away, dip underneath, rip, and he would have bent and got here to the quarterback if this guard didn't come and help. So basically, took 2 guys to get him away. But so this is just an example of like his insane bend and athleticism. But also sometimes he will work a little bit too far past the QB. He has to be better on his pass rush lanes. It's just a lot of little things with him. I will say this, after going back and watching this film, I do feel better about the pick overall. Because like, I'd obviously watched film on him beforehand. But usually when the Dolphins pick someone, I go back and watch every game that I have on them. Usually I watch like, at least 3 games on people. But now I have, I have like 7 games on Chop. I watched 4 and I watched different ones from last time. And it was definitely some promise there. Makes me feel better about his floor. I still think, there's a lot of growing to be done. But I can definitely understand the pick. Just winning around the outside again, 2-hand swipe, times the 2-hand swipe perfectly. He loves this move, definitely his go-to. Just needs, if he does this consistently with his hands, man, because when he got he creates a lot of pass, he didn't have a lot of sack production, which I don't personally care about because his disrupted numbers are really good. It's like pressure is more predictive of success at the next level because sacks can be a little misleading because sometimes you get like cleanup sacks. But when you're running this quick, you got to watch the film. When he got his one-on-ones like this, he won a lot. And it was still like with not great like pass rush plan or moves yet. And then the length can hurt him at times too, with his finishing. But 2-hand swipe to keep yourself clean. He did this twice to this Michigan right tackle. They were not athletic enough to stop him. He got one big hit on McCarthy. That one he really disrupted the play. Here coming off the edge versus the Iowa guy, use those 2 hands to keep himself clean. He does a good job actually on these scenarios because even with his limited length, which he does have pretty short arms, he does do a good job of at least keeping his chest clean, which I gotta respect. And that's, with all the dips and rips that he does, playing absolutely insane. His motor, man, he looks like his hair's on fire out there with the energy that he plays with, and I love it. And I do love that the energy he showed in that video. Seems like a good kid. Everything said about him seemed very, very, high praise, which I love. So if you hated the pick, don't show any hate towards Chop Robinson and his help. Show him some support, root for him. It's still, fine to be critical of the pick itself, but because there is some problems with it. There's definitely could see him being a bust, but you can see the potential is oozing off this kid. That elite explosiveness, even like he's really wide here. He gets to actually stand up, so it's more of his natural stuff where he can really explode off the ball. And there's a tight end to his side. Look at him just accelerate around the tight end. Usually when you take this wide of an arc, you're going to work past the QB, but he's so fast and so, bendy in that lower half that he just takes a great angle to QB. He gains more depth and just absolutely destroys him, which is very, very impressive work. Here we're going to see, I'm going to see, standing up on the inside. We saw him one earlier. Here we get to see him work some, stunt work, which is nice, which he'll definitely see in Baltimore, which he's got to be really good at this stuff. Because I feel like they're going to try to manufacture him some work early on in his career, get him some production, get him going, which if you kind of just have a feel for this, and then you're pure athleticism once you get here. And the ball comes out early and ends up being kind of affected that, the guy throws a pick here. But he probably could have tied it up a little bit better, but looking at him going around, it just creates so much space. And if these guys are slightly out of balance, he's able to use his hands here to swipe again, win to that outside hand. He knows how to win to an outside hand of an O-lineman, no matter the situation. It just needs to become more consistent. The lack of length hurts him in certain scenarios. It's really just that one main move. Here's kind of a negative versus the run. He did struggle in this Illinois game. I watched the Illinois game first, so I wasn't feeling too great. The first 3 or 4 plays of the Illinois game were not pretty. Then after that, he started looking better. He didn't have too many negative plays. Started making some impact plays too. But here, he just takes some false steps, loses his balance, gets late to recognize the play, ball's handed off, gets cut off by Tip Ryman. He kind of got bullied by Tip Ryman a couple times. He was one of the better blocking tight ends in this class. Here he's not getting bullied technically, but he gets cut off just late, losing the balance. I just feel like he doesn't recognize run concepts that super well. But when he is able to see it, he can make impact plays. Like, he can even hold up at the point of attack decently well. He can shoot in the backfield. Just wouldn't say it's a very consistent part of his game at all. Here's like a play he does make where Tip kind of, throws him by. So Chop kind of looks to the backfield after this happens, and he's able to see what's going on. Plays flowing towards him. He's able to dip underneath, get there in the backfield, and make a play versus the run. It's definitely something he can do. We'll see if he ends up, doing that more consistently. Like the speed to power that he can set up, like, this is something, he is a very small, compact player, limited arm length, but he likes to use this move from time because he wins so much to the outside. When these guys start to overset a little bit and they lose their balance and are really scared by his speed, he does a good job of like recognizing and feeling leverage here and just boom, blow them back into the quarterback. Here he's able to basically take the tackle back into Tunga Vailoa's lap there. So pretty entertaining for him to do that type of stuff. That's a move in his bag. He just needs to keep adding to it, develop, just become a more natural player at the position, which, he made some impact plays in these games, even though I feel like there's a lot of work still to be done with him. He was still making impact plays, at least one in every game, which is kind of, what you're looking for. And he just has traits that translate really well to the next level. And then whether he becomes great or not really just depends on the coaching staff now at this point. Can they develop him? I feel pretty good about Weaver and how he's going to use him. It's going to be interesting usage. Penn State kind of misused him at times. Too much hand in the dirt. And so many times I saw him like lined up as like, like a 5, a 4-eye. They didn't get him wide enough. Allow him to really utilize his speed. When he did, he could, take advantage of it, push this guy back into the quarterback. So many things overall to really like with Chop's game. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started. Peace. Here's a little bonus clip that I forgot to put in the actual cut up. It's Chop Robinson dropping into coverage from the edge spot. He looks pretty comfortable, fluid mover, makes a play on the ball, cuts it off. He drops the pick, but nice to see an edge defender be able to do that. I definitely know some people aren't super happy because it wasn't a lineman. I think they just went best player available, which I like to do. Chop wasn't my BPA, but it is what it is. I like the pick, don't love it overall. I think you can, you don't always have to feel like super strongly in either direction, because to me it's like, could work out, could not. I wouldn't say like I have, it really just comes down to how he ends up being developed. But I do enjoy the traits that he plays with, and it was an understandable pick, and understandable that the Dolphins liked him. I remember, I think I even said on stream like a couple months ago where I said the Dolphins could like Chop because I've seen the Ravens take the super athletic pass rushers before, and Weaver could really like that, and he thinks he can definitely scheme these guys up and get them good looks and really allow them to utilize that stuff. So that's all I want to say.